Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method and will answer both loudly and proudly. Auch ein nicer Spruch eigentlich. I will answer loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah! It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see? Mammals sind Säugetiere. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other tweet to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there's something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Das hatte ich halt auch im Kopf, deswegen hat das Sinn für mich gemacht, aber scheinbar nicht. Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears! These creatures are so inept as to practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There's one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. Was ist propel? Kurz weg, einmal ganz kurz. Propel. Antreiben. Okay. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these caverns. Then it should try harder. Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it wouldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. Da muss sich jemand da rausgeholt haben. Ein Russe, denke ich mal, weil da auf Russisch was geschrieben wurde. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? Oh! You've done it again! Your handcuffs are gone! Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see they are restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. Topic 1. Intruder's identity. Conclusion: a beloved speckled snake. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you are not sure Mr. Holmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. Claw scratch. Okay. Gibt's hier noch was anderes? Left Ear. Das ist ein schicker Ohrring, aber ich glaube, es ist der Claw Scratch. Oh! Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound. It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently too. Well, whatever scratcher doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes!
Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night. Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should go follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we find the answer. Okay. Siemens Stroganoff ist es ja genau. Was ist Photograph Frame? Oh, da ist eine Katze drauf. Oh. Ah, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova is cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit. A black kitten. and from the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
Your friend is a little kitten. Without doubt, your friend is a little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes it abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Aha! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observation of the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sign that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Schaum's speciality. Ne? Warte mal.
Specialty.
Specialty, natürlich. Und Ploys? Ploy... Trick. Ah, okay. I thought deduction was a specialty. Or maybe making him believe that was a ploy too. Making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Snake's left skin. Was ist da drin? Da ist doch irgendwas. Oh mein Gott. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West apparently. A cat's toy? How is it a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it. Haha, that sounds positively adorable. Okay. Cat's toy.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying, but failing to conceal, is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. Ah! And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. Okay! Hä, aber was hat die Katze dann gemacht, dass Kazuma gestorben ist? You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah! In summary, the nature of this trend of Miss Pavlova's which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime is a blithersome Russian blue breed of a cat by the name of Daka. Yeah! A truly troublesome feline young Daka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. The photograph of Miss Pavlova and Daka has been entered into the court record. A photograph of Miss Pavlova and a friend, a kitten named Daka. The tiara she would wear on stage can also be seen. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand, and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared, through the ventilator. Daka, she is so naughty. Conclusion? A beloved kitten. Okay, aber wie hängt das jetzt mit dem Tod von Kazuma zusammen? Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Here. Achso, whoops.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman strong enough isn't some immortal freak, you know? He would be strong enough. Strong enough would be strong enough, okay. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be... Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found though. Presumably, Daka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's impossible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain that, what happened? Mark on the floor, oder nicht? Oh.
Yes!
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of the death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax. Tallow and dye were my results. Beeswax? What's beeswax? Bienenwachs, okay. Und Tallow? Schmieren. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? He's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that that's what happened. But, and if this part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Okay, traveling case. Im Diadem, maybe? Im Tiara? Ah, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruhodo-san. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Traveling case. This is where Miss Pavlova hit her friend. That's right, and it wasn't a snake after all. No, it was that little kitten she calls Darker. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring. I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend. Either that, or it's scratching their hand to pieces. The point is, where has it got to? Wastepaper basket? This is a wastepaper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? Das ist der andere Teil von dem Ding. It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Von der Shoelace, von dem Shoe Polish meine ich. Nicht Shoelace, das wäre Schuhsohle, aber vom Shoe Polish. Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Okay, wastepaper basket.
Yes!
That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that wastepaper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Azogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Yeah! You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. In that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Die Katzenglocke! Die Katzenglocke! Ich fass es nicht. Unglaublich. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Daka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble. Oh yeah. Your absent feline friend, Daka. Damn. Einfach von einer Katze umgebracht worden. I couldn't tell anyone. I am sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Tolle Todesursache. Deduction complete. Elementary. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Daka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hand. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Daka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again, by draining the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Daka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Oha. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... tot. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Burya is a very large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over.